Penn Township Board of Supervisors, I'll call this meeting to order Tuesday, July 28th, 2016, for the purpose of township business of budget workshop and for the highway, the capital reserve, liquid fuels. We will go ahead and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and then for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated.
I thought you had baby pictures to put on the projector.
You know, he does. Oh, God, where am I at?
Okay. First for review is the highway budget portion of the meeting.
Thank you.
On the first page we're looking at here, we see the budget examples going all the way back to 2013 through current year, and then projected a budget for next year. Okay. Are those copies made available?
Yeah, they have
Okay.
them.
All right.
Oh, here he comes.
Give it 1 second here, wait for Supervisor Landis.
Apologize for
That's okay, you said you would be. Mr. McGuire is appointed the liaison to the road crew and temporary designee for the roadmaster. I'm going to assume that the individual,
He accepted.
he did accept,
He's
okay.
coming in tomorrow
So
at 9.
I guess what we need to do then, maybe tonight, on a point? No? Okay.
Well, if I may, I was appointed temporary roadmaster,
Correct, that's what I'm saying, yes.
so
So,
temporary.
temporary, so we don't have
I
to,
guess the implication was temporary until we have a
This is-
roadmaster.
okay.
That's what I thought.
cool, all right,
We'll officially do it at the end of the month,
yes, okay.
next month.
Okay. Anyway, so with Mr. McGuire and Helen's work on this part of the budget, which we've normally been done by the roadmaster, we'll give you a moment to review.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Could I raise a question?
yes,
I understand last night you did announce that you hired a roadmaster.
well, yes, we did.
And originally that was planned to be a roadmaster township manager combination.
That is correct.
And so those duties were gonna be split.
Correct,
Now you've hired a full-time roadmaster.
correct.
And so rather than splitting between, you know, the road budget and the administrative budget, a full-time salary, it's now going to be a full-time position on the road crew?
What-
And how does, and I guess, how does that solve the not enough money issue that was talked
Okay.
about?
What the individual that took the position that we offered, because we were looking at budget, some things that are facing the township here, uncertainties on budget issues. So we thought it would be frugal at this point here to hold off on hiring that position. Because only 2 individuals qualified for either or of those positions out of all the applications that we received, which was about 6.
6, yeah.
Okay? One of the individuals declined the position. But with those budget restraints, things that we were looking at, we chose at this point here to look at that for next year's budget. But the individual that we have hired for that position is under the understanding that next year that he could be looking at those responsibilities to what the original interview, what the original position was going to be held a half and half. So, so looking at the budget stuff like that here, the roadmaster, we based that on the this amount here was the 18
with a 3% increase.
with the 3% increase. Okay.
So that'd be $18.45 an hour for 80 hours, 26 weeks, 26 pays.
Right.
So that does not include benefits, that's basically just,
Benefits are paid out of a different fund.
yeah, that's it, but this is straight salary.
Six,
Yes.
Yes.
With that question being asked, do you want to budget for next year full-time roadmaster, or you want to put it half for the salary and half under manager when you get to that portion?
I'm sorry, Los.
Do you want to split the salary for next year between roadmaster and,
Yeah, that was the intent.
okay.
Okay, in the conversations we've had.
Because then that budget number will go down under roadmaster, be about half of that.
Correct.
Okay. I didn't bring a
And
calculator.
if the finances aren't there for the, for the township manager, again, like I said last month, though we feel the position is needed, if the finances don't pan out to be there for it, we're not going to put the township in jeopardy of the budget.
But I guess the issue is you have hired an extra person
Correct.
that you're showing reflecting full-time on the road crew, which you had originally, and so you're gonna be incurring, at this point in time, you're gonna be incurring a full-time expense.
Correct. Well, and the thing about it is, looking at the previous budgets, it was never, even though we had a full-time roadmaster,
Right, no,
okay,
right.
that position was never budgeted because 32 hours of that position was donated and 8 hours of it was paid out, okay? So we understand that saved the township money for all those years, but I do believe that you and others in the room here have expressed over the years that that was going to come back and bite us one of these days. Well, welcome to the real world. It's bit us, just as we predicted it would, okay? So with that being said, is that, yeah, for how many years we may have saved that money, but now, because that person was doing a full-time position.
Do you anticipate that when you go to a joint position, manager, roadmaster joint, that the salary you're going to have to offer is going to be higher than $18.45 an hour?
Oh, because we originally budgeted for 22. We
Yes,
budgeted
yes.
for 22.
Yeah, in other words, to entice this person to take on the responsibilities, are you going to have to increase that salary?
If that person takes on those responsibilities, yes.
So for 2017, are you going to anticipate from a budgeting standpoint that you're going to
Look at a
continue
calculator.
with a $22 an hour position versus an $18.45?
We're going to budget for it, but not necessarily mean that that's what we're going to go with. But we have to at least budget
Right.
sensibly for the position.
So what Helen is saying is that right now, this figure of 38,563 is really based on 18.45 an hour. So, and then ultimately, so you would actually have to increase this to $22. If you're gonna continue going down that road, you'd have to increase this to $22 an hour and then split it between admin and.
That is correct. Which was the original plan.
Right,
Okay, so I'm clear.
Okay.
Because I need to be clear. For 2017 in the Roadmaster, do you want me to put in half of the $22 an hour? Or do you want me to leave it full-time at the $18.40 for the Roadmaster?
Well, even if we budgeted, okay, for that, if we over budgeted for it, doesn't mean we have to use it.
No,
Or
no.
when I say over budget, that we budget for it, doesn't mean that we have to use it all if when we go back to the original plan, if
Okay.
that's the way it works out. But I just want to make sure that we're not going to get caught not being able to
afford.
afford.
Okay,
Well, and
Right.
can't you wait until as this progresses, you're gonna see what your bottom line is.
Correct.
And then you're gonna have to go back at some point in time and probably make those adjustments.
Correct. And that's why, and then, again, in September, we actually have a much better
Idea.
snapshot of where we're at.
Right.
There's other financial things. So there's other financial things that could be facing the township, or not could be, are. So, if we go in and forfeit the office manager or township manager for next year, then we have to do that, because I'm not going to sacrifice other parts of the township for positions that need it. But talking to the office staff, they both agreed that they would continue in the capacity that they are, but even the roadmaster, the gentleman that's coming on, has said that he would be willing to, if there was a PA1 call that needed, Helen couldn't do it, he'd be willing to step out and go take the PA1 call.
as Roadmaster, that's his job.
Okay, yeah, okay, so, okay,
I'm stepping in right now, that's his job.
okay,
I'll gladly give that one up.
all right. Okay, now the full-time position, the full-time wages, that's for Steve
And Tom.
and Tom.
Yes.
Mike.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, Mike. And all the wages I did with a 3% increase. I know we don't normally give 3%, but as a little cushion.
Okay. And this part-time position has always been budgeted, but not necessarily ever always used.
No,
It's an as-needed, could be for
that if we
plowing or whatever.
need a fourth person or to help plow, we need a fourth person on a road project or something. They're normally we normally have, well, we don't have the list anymore, they've all been used up, but we had a list of people who would come in and help on an as-needed basis.
Why did full-time wages decrease from 2015 actual?
Because Tom had a higher pay rate than Mike did because of longevity. Mike stays long enough, he'll get up there too.
And then on the second, third, and fourth page is the actual
Descriptions.
descriptions of the expenditures for each line item.
You guys don't have those. You've seen what they look like. It's easy.
If anybody wants them, we can make them.
Well, yeah, we can make copies if you want the descriptions.
Does anybody want the descriptions of the budget line items? One copy?
Give me mine.
Anybody else?
How many copies? I'll give you mine. I'll give you mine. Those are your copies for you.
I know, I was gonna make copies.
Oh. Wait a second here. Look at fuels. And factories it. See if he's one copy. Well, you can just give those to Henny. Libby.
You don't want them?
I can get more copies. Trust me, I can get more copies. Okay. We were at overtime.
Okay, so the overtime that's been budgeted for, we actually see a decrease.
Well, the last couple of years, we haven't even gotten near to the 5,000.
Correct.
And this is
The reasoning for the overtime is what?
snow plowing. If they have to work on a, like paving project, if they work overtime for that, they can get paid for that, or as in this case, this time, they're told to work 40 hours. When they're 40 hours up next week, they have the rest of the time off.
Clean up.
Clean up, the fall cleanup too.
Okay. And then down through the list there, we have the highway supplies, and these are,
Nuts and bolts.
nothing's been added or taken away from the budget lines
No.
from previous years.
No.
So, basically what we've done is taken, the previous years, averaged them out, determining what the increases were going to be. Fortunately, right now, heating costs is down, fuel prices are down. They're predicting them to be down for off and on for the next year,
Good.
so, or at least until the elections are over.
A question on 1.432.10, the snow and ice removal contractors.
Yes.
That jumped from 3,000 budgeted to
Oh.
15,300?
No, that's my fault. I'm sorry. No, that's 3,000 still. The 15,300 is supposed to be on the other one to round that up.
Oh, on the one below?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. No. That's the finger misprint on the line.
Very different.
No. That is if they get stuck in the snow, they have
Right.
to get pulled out. If for
Or we get
some,
inundated and need help.
yeah, and we have to go out and contract an outsider. Thankfully, we haven't had to do that too much.
Now, the one below it there with the snow and ice supplies, the 6 loads for the 15.3.
Yes, that is the six loads of salt and anti-skid this year.
Okay, and are we still going through CoStars?
For the salt, yes. I know the salt price. The anti-skid, we got some not too long ago because they needed it. They also use the stone for the anti-skid on other things. So I took that price that we last paid for 6 loads. We're full. Probably won't have to use 6 loads, God willing. But we have to plan for a couple of January snowstorms. We don't want those.
Okay, thank you.
Question, one other question. When the previous roadmaster left, there was a number of tools and things that supposedly he had lent to the township and were gone, or, he took back.
Yeah.
Have we determined that those no longer need to be replaced, or, whatever happened with, something along those lines?
It has not been determined that they don't have to be replaced. We were waiting for the roadmaster.
Yeah, when the new roadmaster comes in, we'll be able to assess where our tools are. I know Marysville faced a similar situation when they got their new roadmaster township manager several years ago. They came in and found a lot of the tools were inadequate tools. I don't find that the case here because knowing Mr. Holman, he didn't buy crappy stuff, okay?
Right.
So he wasn't gonna buy a $2 screwdriver. He was gonna buy something that was going to be last and whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're gonna face that situation from the information he gave us upon his departure. He gave us a very extensive list of things we had out there and the things that he was taking back with him, that he's used up his own stuff over the years. With one thing, he did leave us the oil,
E3 oil tank.
the E3 oil tank.
Right.
If we don't use it, then he's requesting for it to, to go back to him, but we're definitely going to put it to use.
Yeah, and then the specialized tools like the drill press and we still have a welder, I believe,
Yes.
but he had another welder. So far, thank God, we haven't had to use any of those, so I don't know how necessity they are on a day-to-day use.
Right, okay.
That's the wintertime project.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah,
Plow breaks.
yeah.
And
might-
1.437.375, the equipment machinery maintenance, there was nothing in that before, and so far we've spent $66 this year.
Yes. Henry wanted the vehicle maintenance and repair and the equipment maintenance and repair separated. He wanted it, he got it last year. So far,
Actually, for a carburetor rebuild, kit,
Yeah,
wax
and
stuff like
as
that,
far as-
compared to the vehicles, and I
Yeah.
see the reason behind, with the ethanol fuels and
Yeah.
stuff, you could end up creating a lot more extra expenses on the gasoline equipment that's out here
versus the
than you
diesel,
know,
yeah.
anyway,
What
tractor.
was
Yeah.
the boiler inspection?
Yeah, and that
I'm
was,
just looking at the one.
That was a boiler inspection?
well, that's one, yeah,
Before
yeah, we have
repairs,
to,
and this one is maintenance.
That's where
Well-
you that put.
370. Yeah, one is actual big repairs and the equipment machinery maintenance is the
Just the general.
oils,
Okay.
the things you have to do to just keep it running.
Yeah, okay.
Lubricants, filters,
Gotcha.
hydraulic hoses. I think that was a hydraulic hose. Oh, no, that was a boiler? The
The
66?
66,
Okay. Didn't know where else to put it?
That's where Henry wanted it.
Okay.
Are you gonna be happy with the 437.37?
.37, 37.
Repairs.
Vehicle repairs and maintenance. Well,
What's the abilities of this roadmaster to be able to put brakes on vehicles, do this, do that?
He's very, from what I understand, he's very mechanically inclined. The resume of this individual actually owned his own highway construction business. He also worked on matter of fact, he worked on 11 and 15 from Amityville up to
Liverpool?
Liverpool, or that stretch of highway several years ago. That was, he was a foreman
Port
on that project. He's very mechanical, so.
Because you've already exceeded your budget.
We had,
There were repairs to the Sterling, that's the bulk of what was spent.
yeah. And I believe that was after Henry left.
No, it was in March.
That was in March, okay.
This year.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of that was repairs to vehicles that were damaged during the snowstorm. Wasn't there?
One of them, yes.
Yes.
I believe that was the one in,
There was
well, no,
some,
that's,
Box on the
some
stores.
tires and some
Yes.
cinder spreader issues.
well, the tires are a different line item,
Yeah.
but cinder spreader issues,
The box was damaged.
yeah. I know if Henry could fix some of that.
Hydraulic hose, wiper blades, oil filters, dimmer switch, and another Sterling repair. I don't know what that was.
That's probably the last one with, and Mike had to take it up. But it depends on how much they can do in-house and what they can and can't do. Even Henry had to take it up sometimes.
That's what I'm saying,
Mhm.
it depends on the ability of the work crew.
Yeah, it
what
does.
That's gonna be charged out, and then the prices go dramatically up
Yes,
for a mechanic's fee or
Mhm.
anything like that.
yeah. Oh, don't worry, I'm getting quotes on that one.
Any other questions on that first page? Okay. All right, next we're going to look at the capital reserves.
Okay.
It-
Oh, wait.
Well, I gotta, before we leave the highway budget,
Mm-hmm.
I had sent in a couple of questions.
Yes.
They have them.
Okay, and I think they go to the question, the larger question of, are we investing enough in our road network to maintain it over the long term? So before we leave this part of the budget, I think it would be, advisable to kind of talk through some of those issues to get your understanding of where we are.
Well, I can tell you one of the things that we posed to everyone in the interviews was a part of the road assessment when they go out and do the road assessments and stuff like that we're not looking at a year-to-year type of thing. We're looking at a 3, 5, 7, 10-year plan of what are we looking at in the roads. So that way we know 5 years from now, we're gonna have to do this road. We're gonna start putting money aside for it, which is wise business, particularly when it comes, that way you're not hit with this large bill at one time. Same way with planning for things on the building and stuff like that. If we know that the roof is gonna have to be replaced, there's been money set aside each year for that. Even though it may not have gotten used, it's set aside for that, So with that being said, we was a part of the interview that with the new roadmaster coming on, is that we're going to want to know, and again, I'm going to say that he's pretty much knowledgeable and I'm going to almost say an expert without knowing all of his background, but his resume, his interviewing, he has a very extensive road knowledge of our roads, period. Yes, but get familiar with our township, So part of that is that he's going to develop a 3, 5, 7, 10-year plan, however that looks like.
So we don't have that yet.
What we have right now is that we have up till, we have 2018.
I guess the question I would ask is if you're saying that we are going to be we are looking at a long-term budget and a 5-year, 10-year horizon for some of these things, and that we are going to be setting aside money, to make sure that we have the money to do that. How is that reflected in this budget? I mean, in other words, right now, we're showing, you're budgeting $30,000 for highway repair, road surface, basically the oil and chip kind of repairs. Okay. That, and in this budget,
Yeah, the other is Henry, Brian. 30,000 for 438.25.
438.25.
That's for stone and,
Most of your road work is
Sorry.
made out of liquid fuels, it's not made out of this.
Right,
Yeah.
right, okay,
And
but
that's what I was getting ready to say.
that's under
is
liquid
that,
fuels, the whole paving project.
There's those things that are set aside for those, like CC said, the liquid fuels.
okay. Again, that liquid fuels, are we, and I guess that's the question then, are we, why are we carrying a $240,000 balance in our liquid fuels fund?
Well,
You
that's
use that
for,
pretty darn quick when you start paving.
yeah, that's for paving of the roads and things like that.
Okay, I
Okay.
understand, but I mean, how are you proposing, or how does that fit with the long-term view of the condition of our roads at this point in time? In other words, right now, you have approximately with the money that's coming in from PennDOT this year, you're gonna have approximately 3 years' worth of road repair work, banked money for that, okay? So what is the plan to use that? In other words, on average, we're spending somewhere between $120,000 and $130,000 a year on paving costs.
Well, one of the ways that we look at that is that how can we extend the life of our roads?
Right.
What can we do to extend the life of the road? Matter of fact, with talking to Mr. Chubb this morning after Helen notified him, he has been looking at, there's a new surfacing out there, what's it called?
FB3?
FP, yeah,
F-
it's a new
we've used it.
surfacing that they're getting great reviews on. it may be slightly more expensive, a type of material,
No, it's just a different mix.
but it actually has a longer lasting life to it. It adds 3 to 5 years, from my understanding, 3 to 5 years to a road. So if a road lasts 10 years, now we can get 13, 15 years, you know. Again, Mr. Holman's always been pretty good in the past of, you know, sealing cracks to give the life of the road. Tar and chipping, as much as people hate tar and chipping, it does save the roads. It does give more life to the roads. So if we have, what is it, a pound of, a pound of cure is better than an ounce?
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Cure, correct.
And I understand that, and the reason I bring it up is that I've noticed that we've got a lot more alligator cracking
Yes.
in our road surfaces, you know, as time goes on. Schoolhouse, and sawmill, and I mean, the ones that I'm most familiar with. But where in the program are we, you know, budgeting for that ounce of prevention and then also the pound of cure? In other words, a balanced highway program has got prevention over here. This, you know, the service treatments like they did on Butcher Shop about 2 years ago, okay? And the reconstruction work like you did on Linton Hill and other ones, you know. So where, you know, how is this being balanced out, and what is the plan for that, and how is that reflected in this budget?
Well, in the liquid fuels is where some of the maintenance comes in at, okay?
No, the maintenance comes in, the sealing the cracks, doing the patches as they come up is in the general fund,
Oh, out of the,
out of that 30,000.
okay.
The liquid fuels is, the way we've been doing it is we do a couple years of small projects and put some of the money away in the CDs. And then when we get the big projects like sawmill, schoolhouse, if we don't have enough coming in on that year, we can take some out of the CD to cover it.
Covered, okay.
That's how that all together.
Okay, but what is our plan for the next, okay, you said you got through 2018, what is the plan?
Well, and that's
Watch
where,
Drive, that's
well,
1
and the
year.
plan is, we have a new roadmaster. We were hoping that we would have had him a whole lot sooner, you know, but that didn't happen. We have him now, and that's one of the things that is going to be, he's going to be working on, is developing, taking from here what we have and fine tuning. As you know, that any manager that comes in, you know, they have their way of doing things. You know, I'm not saying that Henry was wrong with the way he did things. It's just that, you know, when I became a project manager, I didn't do things exactly like the previous project manager did. So I had to develop how I saw my sites were going to run and how the budget was going to work and things like that. You know, so likewise, this gentleman's going to come in, you know, with basically I'm not going to say a clean slate, okay, but I mean there is some issues that are facing our roads that are going to need immediate attention, such as the sealing, such as the tar and chipping. So he already knows he's coming in he's coming in for orientation tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, but he's coming in Monday already into 2 topping projects, you know.
Barrack and faculty.
Barrack and faculty, you know, those roads have been prepped. Now, one of the things that Henry has done in the past is that right now we're looking at what, Sawmill and
Watts Drive for next year.
Watts Drive, yes, Watts Drive for next year, and then Sawmill for the following year. But what Henry had already done is that he's already gone out and did some of the prep work for the draining, you know.
For Watts Drive, yeah.
For Watts Drive. So and again, we do as much, and it's going to be the same practice. The practice that Henry has set up as the roadmaster is that he set up that we do as much as the work we can do ourselves, and the work that we can't do, we'll do then we have to contract out, which cuts the cost drastically. That we're paying somebody $17 an hour. If we got to contract it out, then and it's over a certain amount of money, you got to pay
Prevailing wage.
then you're looking at $25-30 an hour, which, you know, almost doubles the price. So, and I can't speak for Mr. Chubb coming in, but again, he does have extensive, you know, I envision down the road, I seriously envision down the road, is that, that us partnering with either the borough or the township, maybe we get our own roller. Maybe we get our own surfacer, you know, I don't know what it's called. Paver, okay? We get our own paver, but that's a shared expense that we take on with other municipalities, you know? And again, so there, we could even save money then by sharing equipment, and number two, doing the work completely ourselves. So I can't give you the full picture, John. It's just that when the new roadmaster comes in, that's one of the things that he's going to start tackling and you know, assessing the roads, what needs to be maintenance now, what needs to be, so we can get as much life out of it, and what roads. You know, we heard in the meeting last night that Quail
Trail and Morning Dove.
Morning Dove, he's going to come in and assess it and says, you know what, that may need to be done next year too. Or what can we do to extend the life on that road another year or two, you know? But it's really going to come down to the new roadmaster assessing those and coming back to the supervisors and start mapping out those plans.
What's the average mileage of paved road we put in each year?
Oh, we try to get at least a mile. That's why, like, faculty, the second half of faculty and back, and the second half of Barrack comes up to close to a mile.
So an example would be Sawmill Road would take up 2 years of money to do it because it's 2 miles long.
Well, is
Yeah, it is.
Is the whole sawmill?
Yeah, whole Sawmill.
Yeah,
2
because
miles
the
long.
last time some
Well, is the whole
Porsche,
sawmill scheduled?
I thought so.
Okay.
God,
Well, there's been improvements done on both ends of it the last 5 years.
But not in the middle, yeah.
There's already been upgrades to the road done in the last 5-6 years.
Mhm.
Culverts have been replaced, there's been long-term planning on this.
Yep.
So this has been done in a long-time plan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this road has been scheduled probably for the last 10 years to be sooner or later done, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
yeah, you're right.
Am I right?
You're
It
right.
probably was in a 10-year envelope from the way I'm
Mhm.
reading, just what you people are talking here.
Yep.
Almost all the main culverts are replaced by now. There should be very little, maybe 1 or 2
I think,
small ones.
I-
Dry
on
culverts.
culverts, yeah, but the shoulders still need to be,
There's a lot of other work to do to it.
yeah,
But the main
main culverts,
ditch
I
digging
believe.
stuff are pretty much upgraded and already been taken care of.
Mhm.
So I probably started 10 years ago.
Yeah, because we did from Sawmill past Fernley's, Dave Reed was still here. Was that
Nah.
Dave Reed? No, that was
No.
Randy. Plummer was here or something.
Tom was in down there when they put that pipe in down there.
Yeah, yeah, that, when the pipe was in.
Yeah.
But it was
And then
paved,
they did the one there at Warren, at Watts's farm.
Yep.
That was done about 6-7 years
Yeah.
ago.
Years ago,
yeah,
'cause that was Randy and Mike.
mm-hmm.
John, you had another
About
question?
5.
Yeah, question number 4. A number of years ago, there was some discussion about the need to replace the bridge, Kings Mill.
Lytton
and-
Hill,
Huh?
Lytton Hill
On
Bridge.
Lytton Hill Road, right. And where does that stand at this point in time? Because it is a very expensive project. What is being done to get that into the local bridge replacement program?
It's been in the local bridge replacement for years.
It has been.
Yes, yes. Actually, we're on the, you still have that tip, don't you?
Tip.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Here. We are, according to that, we are number 2 to be done. The Laurel Run Bridge in Perry County that needs a bridge replacement. Ours is a bridge rehabilitation. But when that happens in Perry County, it's up to PennDOT.
Right.
Understand that when we start it, it's going to be design and all that. Every year it's reviewed by the county. County has Pennoni doing it. Our bridge has not changed in the status in the last 5 years, thanks to Henry going out and doing patches that we
Right,
do.
right. It's
Still a
safe.
lot of work needs done.
Right.
We have had to lower the tonnage on it. There's things that need done and all, but right now we're at the same type. We were number 1, oh God, how long ago was that? About 8 years ago. But then other bridges in the county had more damage to them. So we got pushed down. Now we're building back up.
Okay.
We're talking the bridge on
Yeah, the one
Creek
on,
Road.
yeah, it's officially called the Linton Hill Bridge, but yes, it's the one,
Stone Orange Bridge.
Kings Mill.
yeah, Kings Mill.
Okay. I was told by somebody in PennDOT that bridge is actually in really good shape.
Well, we're a 3 out of 5, so we're considered poor
And that's why they're considering rehab versus
versus
replacement.
replacement. Well, that can always,
That could change it, that could change after they come and look at it.
yeah,
You know, but what I saw with the PSAT conventions, looking at the different highway constructions and bridge constructions, they actually have come up with some new designs of bridges and small bridges, where they can actually design it at a site and actually truck it in and drop it in and do what they have to do, which drops the cost significantly,
yeah.
you know, for those things. So, but it's up to the design and it's up to.
Yeah, and PennDOT has a couple standard designs that basically you pick from.
Right.
Right, if I may add, right now, that bridge is on PennDOT's Transportation Improvement Program for bridge rehabilitation, not replacement.
Yes,
Yes, we
yes.
have.
That's
But
what
they
I
can
told
come
the
out
bridge
and
all
reassess
in
it.
good shape.
When was that assessed? When was it that? Does
That,
it give a date?
well, that should be the other, no, the other, the spreadsheet should have some type of date on that.
This was,
The bridge was built in around 1930, but,
can begin 2012. So this looks like this came out, the last report came out in 2000,
Yeah, this is
2016,
yeah,
but it was the federal fiscal year 2015.
yeah.
Okay.
And every
that's-
year it's assessed, so,
September,
yeah.
Go by the year.
So the,
Yeah,
yeah, that's what they're looking at, but,
right, now.
correct. But
That
that
could
could,
change
it could
tomorrow.
change tomorrow for.
Yeah,
So I'm sure they'll be a part of the determining, looking at the assessment of the bridge to determine if it's still gonna be rehab or gonna be replaced. And there's definitely a different price from rehab to replace. Yes, sir.
that's the
Prevailing
recommendation.
wage, when does that kick in? At what, how much money?
And the project is over,
I don't know. The last report from last year on the bridge itself, they're not recommending rehab, they're recommending replacement now, and it's 1.3. That was last year's,
Yeah, I was looking last year.
yeah.
but the most
Which is gonna,
current report as of,
I just got that off the webpage today.
but as of July, as of today,
Uh-huh.
they're still calling it rehab.
That's what we put in originally for, and if you notice, that says 175,000.
Correct,
Look at that price.
correct. And this is replacement,
That's replacement at 1.3.
but
But if we can rehab it for 170, right, we're gonna have to pay a percentage. I just don't know what that is.
and usually the percentage is 75-25.
It could be, it depends on how bad the bridge is, how,
Exactly, you know.
there's factors that build into it.
But again, we're not gonna know, so,
Until we get to the design phase of whatever they're gonna do.
and then how long after the design phase do we have until they start the work?
It could be a
2
year,
years?
1 to 2 years. Depends on how bad it is.
Okay.
That's
So-
all.
And they're saying an estimate of year 2020 for rehab or replacement of this bridge.
Mm-hmm,
So we still have
4 years.
4 years, 3.5 years left for them to determine when they're gonna do it.
My actual question was though, if on prevailing wages,
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
where's your cutoff that you have to start paying?
100 and, I have to think,
And 120?
I think it's something like that. I'd have to look it up, Stanley, truthfully.
for some, I believe it's between 120 and 130.
Okay,
Is
the
that-
reason I ask, 120 rings a bell.
Mm-hmm,
And I see this year roadway resurfacing 123.
no, we had to go out and do the prevailing wage.
Right.
We have to
Why-
put
why
in,
would- Why would we spend 3,000 more dump us into a new wage bracket.
Because I think what happened this year, they wanted to do the project back to back, so it was bid out as
At one,
one project but two phases. Is that how it was?
well, it was one project with two locations.
Two phases.
Yeah.
Um,
And the numbers came back, of course, the oil was a little more expensive when we went out bid. It came back that the estimated number for the project from the Penn guy and when Henrik went out with Randy to look at the road, if it comes in that thing, I have to put the information into the prevailing wage website with PennDOT, and they give us a list of the wages under that, and we have to put that with our packet. We fall into that zone, we have to do it. It's
So
not,
it did fall into prevailing wage?
yeah.
You mean you couldn't go back to the contractor, rejected bids and then go back and?
Well, see, when the bid packet goes out, we have to put that in there. Yeah, they could reject the bids and try to go cheaper. That's the supervisor's decision at that time.
I'll go back to that, the last question on that list that I sent in was about FB3. The last 2 years we've specified FB3 materials, and we've only gotten one bid in each year. Because reportedly, there's only one supplier in the area that puts that material down. Is it being cost effective to specify that kind of material when you're not necessarily getting competitive bids? And that's kind of a, I don't expect you to have a ready answer to that question. My only comment is that I think that needs to be taken into consideration. You know, if there's no competition, then what's to keep that guy from, you know, charging through the roof for something like that?
Well,
And do the benefits of the material outweigh the potential cost increase? And that's just a question for you to consider in the subsequent years as you move forward, and trusting the new guy to have, you know, to bring in his expertise. But I'm just raising that as a point of information.
Well, and that was one of the questions he posed to me today, was looking at other materials, you know, that would extend the life of the road, make it last longer. So he's already thinking about those things. The other thing too, he said with me owning my own business at one time, being a part of budgets, he understands the budget restraints, understands coming in under budget or looking at a budget. So he's very, I'm going to say from the interviews that we talked to him about, his resume, he has a good understanding, you know, of the budget lines and trying to get the best bang for your buck. You know, so I'm going to say, without giving him glorious praise, because we haven't seen anything, he's already thinking about budget restraints. He's talked several times to me, or mentioned several times a day about, you know, looking at the budget, watching the budget lines, and making sure that things are taken care of. So, and one of the biggest things he talked about today was he wants to look at all the equipment and inspect all the equipment, because he wants to make sure that everything's running the way. And I all but guaranteed him 100% that the previous roadmaster was a very stickler on making sure that everything was cleaned and maintained properly, and that's how we got the life out of the equipment that we got out of it. And that same expectation is placed on him, that we need to make sure we take care of our equipment the way it's been taken care of.
If he had his own businesses, what kind of equipment has he retained that would possibly be rented or leased to us?
I don't think he has, I don't know, did he?
I don't know, I can't answer that.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I have no idea.
But you were remarking earlier on having pavers or whatever, that if he was in a business, he would have had access to that in some manner.
You know, and there's opportunities from time to time Oh, and that's another thing, he said that he wants to take full advantage of all the PennDOT training that he can get, to make sure that he's up on what's going on in the highway industry, and get re-familiar with that, so he's very much wanting that information, so that way, again, to provide us, the best bang for our buck.
With that statement, look at 430.42. Do you want to up that amount?
What was it?
430.42? No, it's on highway. It's a highway training.
I didn't see that.
42.
Yeah, highway training.
Okay. A lot of the PennDOT training is
It's free. And
correct?
so is LTAP and,
And PSATs.
yeah, but
Okay,
just in case, I mean. LTAP's normally free. A lot of PennDOT is free. Or very minimal money. And that's the cats.
Is there any money put aside in here for future equipment upgrades?
Not yet, that normally comes out, we can do that out of liquid fuels, we've done it out of capital reserve before too.
Over years or all at 1 year?
Both. Liquid fuels normally over years, like the dump truck, we're paying on that now, the new dump truck. We got 2 more years on that. The pickup, we just paid 1 fee out of capital reserve for that.
What about like backhoe?
Normally we do that on a lease to buy type thing, a 3-year.
Which fund does it come out of?
That is normally decided at that time, but truthfully it should come out of liquid fuels.
Right.
How did the tractor come out of liquid fuels?
I'd have to research that. I don't remember off the top of my head. I would say yes, but I'd have to double check that. Because that's what it's for the
Right,
road paving,
exactly.
and then you get so much of liquid fuels that can go towards equipment.
Yeah.
Bob, you had a question?
I've already asked, I was concerned about the contractor or the
Oh.
roadmaster.
Uh-huh. My question is, do you want to put more money in the highway training or not? We haven't really used it in the past because they've done LTAP or something like that.
You could pose that question to your roadmaster and him give you a budget for what he wants to do.
Well, yeah.
Because this is one of the first things we're gonna go over with him.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
I realize this is not set and
In
there's
stone.
things can be changed until we adopt it. I understand that.
A lot of these schools are already scheduled on new So,
I mean, for this year.
if you sit and go through this with, he's gonna have an idea of what schools are going to.
Yeah.
There's that 6 months.
Yeah, and we're always getting information.
Figure that in,
On this?
switch things out.
Yeah, they're gonna start.
That's Monday, right?
Yeah, Monday, we're going to start at Barrick first.
First
And then
case
they're going to go out to faculty.
And that's what he's thinking.
And they've already, they're doing the second half of faculty, going down towards samples, the hard part. They're going to probably close that portion of the road while they're actually paving, and they've already talked to the chief about it. Because they want to make that one big pass there, but there's going to have to be 2 passes out on Barrett because it's so wide, and a nice little giant cul-de-sac.
Yeah, it's a big cul-de-sac.
That's a humongous cul-de-sac.
Or just back down. Okay. Yeah, let's just go ahead and double it to 400. And then we'll talk with him.
Yeah.
about the process.
Yeah, okay, we'll put that at 4.
That's
So,
more,
yeah.
that should be more than sufficient.
Okay. All right, John, did you have anything else for that? I think we,
Have you gotten any idea what Watts Drive will cost next year, or is that something you're gonna have to develop?
We're in the process of that. Brian started it, but we're still in the process of that.
I mean, it's not a $400,000 project.
No, actually, it's from about Roar Drive back. Is it that far? It's where it turns in from Cove to Watts back to the dead end.
It's from Barnett Drive the rest of the way.
Okay,
Go back.
thank you.
From Barnett.
It's
Oh,
about,
Barnett,
it's
okay.
about a mile at the most. It ain't even a mile, it can't be a mile.
No,
It's gotta be about a half a mile,
yeah.
5/8 of a mile at the most.
Okay, any further questions on the, highway budget?
So, which one you want to do next?
Okay, next, let's just go right on the line, the capital reserves.
Okay. There we go. Okay, this is not completely complete because I have a couple line items from the police department who I won't have until next month. We're expecting interest earnings, we're hoping at least $750 and more. We just never know with interest how it bounces around. I'm hoping to transfer $20,000 over to capital reserve at next year. But that, you know, that always depends on where the money situation is at the end of the year. And then I don't have any expenditures as of this time out of capital reserve. Right, then I don't, like I said, I don't have the police information yet.
And that's the next,
That's next week. No, I mean, sorry, next month,
okay.
God willing.
So basically, and what we're doing here, we're just giving snapshots. In times past, you got,
Everything at one time.
you got a sheet like this, but it wasn't in order. You had police department here and here, and here, and here, and here. You had road to here. It was
Well, you had the whole budget. This is just
Correct.
done into the different
correct,
sections.
but we always had to look around and fish around for things.
Mhm.
So with the workshop, we're actually getting the snapshot of each department. So, so when Helen says that we don't have the
Everything,
police department, because that part is,
next
you know,
month,
and then once everything, then we'll be all compiled together with the final budget.
hopefully.
Yeah. And so, again, there's gonna be tweaking.
What did you, last year,
Mm-hmm,
you spent out of the capital reserve $52,000.
yeah.
That was what? That was the police vehicles?
Police vehicles,
You purchased two that year, did you not? I mean, the
was it
the
two of that?
SUV
Yeah, yes,
and another one.
two SUVs.
Okay.
And I believe.
And we did
there was a cash in of those. We got a really. they
Yeah,
traded-
we traded in and we got it down a lot.
And was there grant money with that also?
No,
No.
Not
there was
with the
no grant
police,
money with the-
no.
Okay.
And
And
then
then,
the other one was the pickup truck?
1879, what's that one?
Like
What
split
does it say?
systems?
No, that's up on the top, that's the 1945, that's the split system for in
Okay.
here.
I
Machinery,
didn't print out those accounts. I only
Well,
did highway.
that's fine. I wasn't looking for that, I'm looking for this, machinery equipment. That must have been the pickup truck, the 18,000. I can double check that for you.
Yeah, I think it was.
I left that computer on for this reason.
I think it was.
Because we paid one payment on that.
Yeah, I think that was the pickup. 'cause
Yeah.
I remember Henry he looked at me and made the statement, "I wish you could get your pickup that cheap." And I said, "Yeah, get me one."
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
I remember him saying that to me.
Yeah, and that was a trade-in of the old pickup.
Right.
Not a great trade-in, but a good trade-in.
Bottom line was a good price.
Yes.
When he got
And
it.
truthfully, they actually got a little bit more, not bells and whistles, but a better vehicle. I just wish it wasn't so high up so I don't have to physically climb into it.
Get a milk crate, you'll be fine.
I gotta make sure I don't wear a skirt.
I was thinking that too. I was behaving myself.
You're gonna do what? Behave yourself?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I fell asleep.
Mark this on your calendar.
I fell asleep last night, so I'm gonna behave myself tonight.
He did.
You know what the 19845 was?
I told you the meeting.
That was
too
a
long,
split
you folks,
systems. That was for, in here,
Township was too
this-
long, you
the
folks.
township office in here, the big room, and the room 4, so that all the split systems were in, and we got out of the propane business. So we don't have to pay the propane, which was, trust me, this made it worthwhile.
It just needs removed yet.
Yes,
Yes, and that's on the.
Roadmaster.
That's on the scope of one of the, maybe fall projects when things slow down and there's something they can.
Yeah,
take
and
care of.
because we have to coordinate between the highway crew and Suburban to pump the tank. They want us to dig the tanks out. And I'm assuming load it on whatever they're gonna load them on. And then they better give us a refund on the propane in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then at that point, we can take those things off however we decide to do it, with us doing it and taking the scrap money, or maybe if the roof has to be done, maybe throw that in as a little bone.
That was the 13,640.
Price of scrap.
Okay, any other questions on the capital reserves, revenue and expenditures?
What, just out of curiosity, you're showing the police are contributing $272 this year to the capital reserve.
Yes, that is actually money that, the accident where their deer hit the vehicle this year. That's what we got from the, that's what we got from the insurance. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's the vest, we haven't transferred the money from the accident over yet.
It's a vest
When-
reimbursement.
Yeah, when our guys leave, they get the vests made to their bodies. So they can't exactly pass them on to everyone else. So when they go to like Camp Hill will reimburse the price of a vest, at least half of it. That, they always want that money to go into their capital reserve fund. It's built towards cars and whatever.
Because I was under the impression that, originally when the department was expanded and set up, they were putting money away every year for a vehicle. And which was reflected in 13 and 14, where there was money put into capital reserve for vehicle purchases.
Yes,
Then they decided to quit doing that, as in 15 and 16.
well, it's not so much they quit doing that, they didn't have it to do. They used their budget. That's why when we get these little reimbursements, that money from the accident that we got back, it's not a whole lot, but we put that in there towards that. We go through the chief, make sure he's okay with it, and we put it in there. That way it's saved, it's money we weren't really looking for, so.
They tell us when they want money transferred.
No, I guess the question,
we're gonna ask them.
would be is that, on one hand, we don't put money into the capital reserve necessarily every year to buy to buy stuff. There really isn't an allocation that goes in based on a long-term capital expenditure, budget, like that 5 to 10 year outlook. We're over 10 years, we're gonna need $200,000, therefore every year we ought to be putting 20 in.
Well, we tried to put 20, we were for a couple of years putting 70 over.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, taxes and things don't allow that anymore.
Right.
When the capital reserve was set up, even before me, the money that was going in was allocated for the major expenses, the roof, the bridge, because we're going to have to pay some of that too, emergencies, and some vehicles. If you could see up here, I have Township roof. I've been putting, at least designating 2,000 of that every year towards.
I guess my question is that where is there any consideration being given to developing a capital budget needs, an estimate, to get an idea of what our long-term expenses might be for, like the roof, replacing vehicles, and other major elements, in the township. Is that, is there any consideration being given to do that? No, you're charging the roadmaster to come up with something akin to that for the roads. What about the other things?
Well, and that's where, again, that's some of the things that we're facing right now in the office, and we'll talk about that in the office budget, but to let you know that we are looking at those things. We were looking at the different programs at PSAT that would bring our office software up to modernization. With that being said, well, those packages are quite expensive, and if we did that all in 1 year, we would be raising taxes. Okay, so sitting down with Helen, we sat down and we, matter of fact, I think it was Brian and I and you. We sat down and we looked at computerization. Do we need new computers? Do we need new monitors? What software do we need? Okay. So we looked at the software and we said, Helen, what do you need now?
Yeah.
And she said, this is what I could use now. And then she said, so then over the next 3 to 5 years,
Get a different module.
a different module will be added. So that day, I think in 5 years,
5 years we've been up with,
5 years we would be up to standard, and then keeping those other software packages come with revisions. Okay, so not only are we upgrading, and we're also keeping the revisions coming up. So within that 5-year plan for the computerization of the office, we'll have the software, the computers. Now everybody knows the moment we put the computer in the office, it's already outdated.
Right.
it's like a car.
So there is those makings of things in the office, looking at repairs in the building and stuff like that. So those are things that we're looking at, and again, it's looking at those 3 and 5 year plans. One of the things that we did cut back, looking at, we didn't get the grant money that we were hoping to get. Okay, but some other things are maybe pressing the township. So what we decided not to do, not to get all the new computers this year, but we got.
Well, no, we got the
We
computers.
got 2.
Well, that's all we needed, was
we
2
only
computers.
Oh, so we got the computers.
We got the computers,
Okay.
but
You just didn't get the server.
we didn't get the server yet.
The server, yes. Okay.
And with the computers, we got Microsoft 365. That's 5 computers, so all the computers are synced with the same program now.
Yes.
The operating system. And we're all at number 7 Windows now. So it's not Me Vista, Her 7,
Yeah.
XP.
So we spent this year, the last 2 years, last year and this year.
Well, on the computers, this year, we've only spent,
But I mean, we spent the last 2 years
oh yeah,
getting everything
Yeah.
in sync with each other. The other thing that we're still looking at.
we're hoping.
Is the website.
Website.
The website.
Mhm.
And the website company actually came back and
And drop the price.
dropped the price. So maybe we'll hold off a couple more months, maybe they'll drop it again. No.
That is not
But-
actually too far off.
Again, looking at the township website, it's very hard to navigate, it's very hard to
It's not
update. It's not user friendly.
When it was designed, it was good. It's now 10 years old.
Yeah, and with this new program, I can't tell you all but there's a lot of stuff that comes with this new website, and they're gonna build it from the ground up.
Yeah, we can link it to Facebook. So anything's updated, it will go to a Facebook page. It'll have an emergency contact system on it. So something like the authority has. Except that we don't have to call it in, we just put it on the Facebook, and people who give us the numbers in to us, it'll go out to.
And people subscribe.
Yeah.
They give their email address or they give their Facebook.
And they could subscribe, say like you wanted to know every time the police page is updated, you would get a notification of that, if you subscribe to that page. And you guys could do that from your home.
It has emergency alerts that if there's a child missing,
We
you
can
would
send a
actually
blast
get-
out.
You get Facebook and emails telling you that there's a child missing
Yeah,
and stuff like that. So there's a lot of built-ins to this new website for notifications and interaction.
yes,
Interaction.
a lot easier to
All
navigate.
three of us supervisors
Lot
now
easier
have
to
email
update.
addresses for the township. So, so there
Those will
would
be in the,
there would be an email, there would be a place where you can send an email and you can hit Supervisor Peters and it will go to Supervisor Peters. Or if you wanted to, all three of us, you can click and hit all three of us, wherever you wanted it to go. So it's gonna be very interactive. And, you know, we could take a picture of something today and put it up there and have current photographs of the economic development, would actually have a page within the website where, you know, would have all the contact information. If there's a grant information that's out there right now, you could actually put notifications out to the businesses stating that there's these grants now available to local business. So it's very interactive.
I gotta get you that anyway. There is a grant out there for local businesses.
I think I
Yeah.
sent it to you.
That
Did
was
you
the
send it
one,
to
that
him?
was
Okay.
for farmers for buffer zones along streets.
Yeah.
There was
for
two of them.
trees,
There's
for-
two of
yeah.
them.
Oh,
Yeah, there's
and
two. I sent you a second one on, there's actually grant money for businesses,
Small business.
small business,
Okay.
yes.
I forwarded that to Morgan Tressler, you know, for to forward out to her group of farmers.
Okay, for the trees
Yeah.
along the creeks.
The last audit report showed that we had a capital reserve account balance of $253,000. Is that correct?
Actually, that's gonna be going up.
Huh?
That should be a little more than that because of the CDs.
Well, it's, yeah, the
Yeah.
capital reserve doesn't have,
No, in other words, as of the end of 2015.
that
Yeah.
one, that included CDs.
And
Not
so
just-
that-
That's mostly CDs.
But
Yeah.
so that is a reserve of township money for capital, you know,
Yep.
purposes.
Yeah.
Project,
Yes.
Similarly, I guess the other, and we're not talking about general fund, but we also are having a general fund reserve of somewhere in the range of $350,000?
That includes CDs.
Yeah,
Right, right.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. Actually, I think that is the
Seed-
CDs.
That's not all CDs,
Yeah.
but it's a good portion of it.
Okay. So essentially, we have about $600,000 in funding that is available in the event of an emergency or whatever.
Sure, the treasurer's.
Yeah, go get that. Let's see here, 1, 2, 250, 3, 4.
You folks mind if I
Between-
get a cup of coffee?
No?
Between, off the top of my head, rounded numbers, between 4 and 500,000, not counting liquid fuels in
Like in
CDs.
CDs? We can add them up.
Yeah. Because there's two over 100,000 in general fund, and there's a 50-something, I believe it is.
55.
Yeah, in general fund, so there's 250 there, and some odd. Capital reserve, I believe there's 2. I'm thinking both are 100. A little over 100. I don't keep these numbers in my head. That's why we have a treasurer.
Well, no, and I mean,
Next year, that's a job requirement.
I keep too much shit in my head as it is.
And at this point in time, are you anticipating any expenditures out of capital reserve this year?
No, I'm not.
See, if I come up with the right figure, capital reserve CDs and general fund CDs is 508,688.96.
Yeah, that'd be about right. Yeah, often. Yeah, it's the odd numbers I don't know.
Okay.
And then that's not counting liquid fuels.
No, right.
Because that's, you have
Park
that,
and rec.
or park and rec, no,
It's
no. No, we don't, that Park and Rec's for the Park and Recs, and their little things. The liquid fuels have to be used for certain things, so we don't count those in general money to go out. And I gotta watch a couple of those because we may have to divide them up because of FDIC stuff. That's why we don't have one giant CD.
Right.
And that's why we go with the money market, because God forbid we ever have to go in one, we don't lose the interest with the municipal CDs.
Yeah, the easy access.
Yeah, the easy access, you could just pull out what you need. Yeah, you'll get less in the future, but they don't penalize you.
Right.
We're,
Operating funds, as far as general fund,
Uh-huh.
operating funds to use, 46,535.61.
That would be right, because we haven't got our EIT, which we're going to get around 38,000. And we haven't received the check from the borough yet, which we're waiting for one more signature for the police department.
Okay.
So that will add another 78,000 at the end of this month. And then this is,
And 78,000.
yeah, roughly. Let's see, 42, 38, 50, 60, I'm sorry, 60 something. This, I need to fix this. 60 something? No, we watched what we call the liquid money very tightly, especially this time of year.
And one of the things, hopefully I've done it justice, I'm often asking Helen where we're at financially.
Well, we give you that weekly report
Weekly
too.
report, but I still come to you and ask you
Oh,
questions
yeah.
and things like that. You know, where we at, and, you know.
Are we short for this time of year, or?
Yes, are we on schedule for what was anticipated?
Yeah.
So in our expenditures, you know, do we need to back off somewhere because we're looking at this and looking at that?
Yeah.
So it's one thing that, that I try to do, and I learned that from Henry. One of Henry's thing was that he was always looking at the budget, always aware where the numbers were. And I'm trying to follow on that same suit. Have I mastered it? No. So. Okay, any other questions on the capital reserve? We have about 8 minutes left of scheduled time, but since we started 5 minutes late, we want to try to stay to the 8:30 timeline.
Truthfully, this is going to be quick and sturdy. Okay.
This is the liquid fuels revenue and expenditures.
Okay. The interest is always a guesstimate. We never know for sure. As you can see, so far on interest, we've only got $155. That is going to be changing because the CD for the liquid fuels is coming due. So we'll get all the interest this month, well, August. So that will go up. I will not know the final number for the liquid fuels tax until end of September. So what I just did is I just moved over what we got this year. That can go up, it can go down. I mean, you can see what I was told in September was 141, what we got in March was 144. That happens a lot, thankfully.
But it's close.
It's as close as we can, yeah.
It's close to what you can imagine for
Oh,
the amount of
yeah,
money.
it is. We're only maybe off,
Plus within the margin of error.
we're normally only with a couple thousand off different.
Yeah. It don't exceed 5,000.
No,
No.
never. And the 7,800 is our turn back money. That's stagnant. That stays the same every year. So 153,000 for liquid fuels coming in. Now then 16,912, that's a firm number. That's the next payment for the truck. I don't have the numbers yet for this roadway surfacing. Obviously, we haven't paid the pavement yet for this year. But I don't know that until I get more numbers from Randy. Brian, you going out with Randy and Kim for numbers for Watts Drive? The budget numbers.
Yeah, when, that's not scheduled, is it?
No, it's not yet.
Yeah.
I know you went out and got distances and all that stuff,
Right.
and I could do a rough estimate.
Right.
But you were talking about maybe going out with Randy and with the, you know, with the contractor
Okay.
and going off. I know you were planning to do that with Kim,
Yeah.
but I did, it's not
We
from
didn't
the,
set it-
no.
we didn't set a date.
no. So until I get those numbers, I can't put something in there. I mean, if I got the distances and thickness and what we're gonna do, I can give a pretty close. I've learned how to do pretty close. But I just don't know yet.
Is there an actual figure for 2015 for road grade? Oh,
No, not yet. We haven't paid it.
no, 2015.
2015 for,
Did we do any seal coating?
No.
None at all?
mm-mm,
Okay,
nope. We took care of Linton Hill Road.
okay.
Now that's when we just put that little, the top coat on. That's all that is, just a top coat. When the base is still good, we just want to keep the, prolong the road a little bit. That's normally at the most 2 inches.
That's if you got a good sub base.
Yes, yes. You have to have a good sub
It's
base.
just a resurface of the
Yeah.
road, basically.
Yeah, it's just to extend it another 8 to 10 years, something like that.
Has any thought been given to reestablishing center lines on Township roads?
Reestablishing or just repainting?
Well, painting, yes, in other words.
Well, yeah, there's a number of roads that need line painting. They're fading.
No.
We haven't designated any yet, but that doesn't mean we can't do any yet because there's money in the budget for it. I mean, that's not out of the general
When we
fund.
when we did the road survey, there was some that we designated
That needs it?
that needs it. It was the crossings, some of those ones at the railroad crossings and.
I never got that list. But yeah, I asked you guys to check those because we have to keep those clear, just like we have to do the paving out here at the signal. So that will be coming out this year, the signal light here.
Whether
about
it's Brian
center
or
lines?
whether it's Brian or myself, I know you're planning on doing the road survey with the new hire.
Yes.
But if you can't do it, you let me know, and I can work with him to do that, you know. If something comes up, you can't,
Okay,
you know.
okay.
But when they do that survey, they can
Redesignate it.
Ken's gonna get out and extensively look at the roads.
Well, he has to,
Okay.
yeah.
You know,
Oh,
so with
okay.
that, we can keep on the back of the lines and those crossings that we designated.
Yeah, because we have 3,000 for line painting. Now, some of it's gonna come out for when we do this up here. And I noticed that Penn Dot went and put the main yellow lines down and the side lines, so that's something we don't have to do. We still have to do the crosswalks across, you know, coming out. We still have to do those.
Helen, you brought up a good point, and I can't remember. Where does the traffic light maintenance come out of?
The maintenance comes out of my side, the office one. That's a maintenance contract, which is a certain amount for them to come out and do their yearly thing. And then if they have to come out and do a repair because someone hits it or whatever, that's gonna be extra, but I put that in my budget.
So why doesn't that come out of highway?
I don't know. Because when we first did it, I was told to put it under general, and under the, my side of the budget is everything that's not police or highway. So I was just told to put it under that. We could easily move it over. I mean, that's no big
It
deal.
just seems to make more sense to have it, I mean, it's,
Yeah, because like the line painting, that's not an every year thing. So that would come out of the line painting budget of the highway.
So all we would do is just take it out of your line item and
Yeah, we just redesignate the first three numbers, that's all.
But is it hurting anything where it's at now?
No, it's not.
I mean,
No, the contract for them to come out and look at the light is a flat fee. Couple $100. Of course, if someone hits it and or there's an emergency, they have to come out because it's blinking or whatever, they're gonna charge us. And depending on what it is and supplies, that's what they'll charge us. We just don't know what that is until it happens. Thank God, nothing yet.
Should you include a line item, on the highway side for signal repair?
I have that on my side.
Or you have it on your side too?
Yes, yes.
So in other words, you have a signal maintenance contract.
A contract and the second line item for repairs.
One other question, early in a previous meeting, you were talking that you were going to move things like workers' comp, you were gonna start breaking down workers' comp and health insurance charges, and to allocate them under the various, like the highway account. Are you,
Well, that was never considered to do, but it was discussed about it.
We did discuss it, but one thing that Helen recommended for us to keep the way it is, because for her to go quarterly, to go in and pay those bills, she'd have to go and pull from there, pull from here, pull from here.
And we do that with the police department now.
So,
Trust me, you don't want to make her go crazy.
or crazier.
Yeah, crazier.
So we did discuss that. That way we could get more true of what the police budget was and what the roadmaster's budget was.
And we can do that. It's just that when we get the bill, instead of dividing it up 2 ways, we'd have to divide it up 3 ways. And so say it's 2,000 and we take 1,000 from the police to pay it. We take 500 from the highway, 500 from mine. More work.
And, I was just asking a question because you had said you were thinking about doing that, and I didn't see it reflected.
No, it can be done. If they wish it to be done, we'll do it.
Yeah, that was one of my thoughts, but after sitting down and talking with Helen about the practices and how things get done. Now in the future, with the new software, that may be something we can do, because
That software won't be dealing with the accounting.
Okay, I won't? Okay.
No, that's not accounting
I
software.
mean, future software.
Way in the future. Well, we could do it now.
Correct.
We could actually do it now. We do it now with the police department. It's just, it's one extra step for us when we're paying the bills.
But in the future, software,
Mm-hmm.
it's a click of a couple buttons, and it should be able to be done with future software, but we don't have it right now.
No, we can do it. We go in, we put the bill in, we put line item 100 for the township right now.
Oh, okay.
Line 200 for the police department. And the computer will pull it out of those, he'll do the magic backwards and just put it in the right account. We have one check to do when we pay the bill.
Have the auditors ever recommended anything like that?
No.
No.
You kidding? They looked at me cross-eyed when I explained how we were doing the police department. Their first question was, why? And it was to get a better control on who's paying what in the police department. What boggled their mind was not so much that we were separating the police department, but then we did it between the borough and the township, because we now have, like, the insurance is perfect. We have township insurance, we have police, borough police insurance, we have township police insurance. And the police department is the one who tells us which one to take it out of. But we have those 3 things that we have to, well, they have to compile when they look at our audit. We give them the big spreadsheet and let them have fun. I mean, they just didn't understand why it was divided, not only just basically the 2 divisions, but then the second division is divided again.
Correct. Well, I guess what we could do, just for information, not separating it out, but at least showing what is, breaking it down, so, just for information, this is what each department cost.
Well,
If it
yeah.
was coming out of their budget,
Mm-hmm.
just so that we have a clear picture it's not in their budget, but this is what it cost for those insurances.
Well,
and for
that's
those-
very easy to do for like our federal and FICA and that type of taxes. But when we get the bill for workers' comp,
Correct.
they don't divide that out on the, they don't divide that out on the bill.
Yeah,
They
because-
might, because there's different,
There's different
there's
categories.
There's different rates for each category, so.
Yeah, so we'd have to do some figuring behind the scenes
Well, I
probably.
think they might calculate it out.
Monthly
I
on their, or quarterly on their bills? No.
I don't know.
That way we really know, that way if somebody asks, how much does,
We have-
how much does it really cost?
Yeah.
Well,
We
this is
could,
what it's costing, it's just that it's coming from this budget and that.
yeah,
budget.
well, we could do that when we get the first big bill, not when we pay the quarterly bills, because
Right.
the quarterly bills come, we just have the bottom line. We have to go back and do the behind the scenes
Right.
stuff. When we get the first workers' comp bills, take that one, it's divided into police, towns, cities, office, janitorial type of things.
Okay.
And when we had the fire company, the fire company. We did have those separate things.
Okay.
That's on the first yearly bill, what's gonna cost us yearly. But when we pay our quarterly bills, it's just the bottom line.
Okay.
Yeah, we could figure that out behind the scenes. Medical, that's not too hard. FICA and the payroll taxes aren't hard, because we have to figure them out individuals too to report them. It's just another,
It's not that we're
It's
asking
a
to
lot
split
of
it out, we're just
additional
looking for information.
calculations.
he's looking like the police, the sheet I give for that, so we could, yeah, we could do that.
I mean, it's just information saying that this is the clearer picture of the police department, but it comes out with, we're not gonna switch budget lines. I think what they're looking for is just for,
Something like I showed you with those taxes that we give them?
Yes.
We could do it that way, yeah.
Yes.
It's just a behind the scenes breakdown.
correct.
Basically, we put Tom and Mike and Ken's pay, and it breaks it down to the different categories. It just would be a lot simpler.
Okay. Any other questions on the liquid fuels revenue and expenditures?
No, because this will be coming back up when I get the information.
So,
Is it premature to have something in for roadway resurfacing for 2017?
No, but I just don't know what to put in it.
Okay.
well, but we should have a clearer picture
Once we,
by the time we get to the general budget in September.
oh yeah,
Yes, correct, because-
As soon as I get those numbers, I'll bring this back with whatever budget meeting we have.
With the next,
Yeah, if you guys can get there, with Ken and walk the roads, or even give me the copy of the numbers that Rick gave you, I can give a estimate, and it's an estimate. I can do that. I've learned, I got thrown in the deep end doing that. As far as a final number, basically you want to take a contractor around like Henry did. And they can look at it, they give us, we're not locked into that price with that contractor.
correct.
Everyone knows that. And other townships do it. You go out, they said, okay, this is what we're looking at, this is approximately what it's gonna be. And normally it's really close to the final bid.
All right. Any further questions on the liquid fuels? Okay,
Okay?
next on the list is that,
Visitors, if they have any, don't think we really need it, but.
all right. All right, if there is no further questions, at this point here, I make the motion that we go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Do we have a second?
In a second.
All right, second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay? Ayes have it, meeting's been adjourned. Thank you very much for coming out.